All right, good morning, everybody. So I expected a smaller crowd to be here today because schools are closed. Does anybody know why schools are closed? Public schools?
It's election day.
That's right. Yes, schools are closed for election day. I just went to one of the local elementary schools to vote with my son, and he's downstairs reading a book right now. So while I'm working, I've got to keep him busy. So here's our plan for today. If, like I said a minute ago, if anybody has to leave early, like Jefferson, just let me know, and I won't put you in the very last activity. So we're going to go over vocabulary from the WSJ podcast that we started listening to last week. There's a lot of new words, and we'll learn them. Like I said, you're going to have new words coming out of your ears. So a lot more new words today. Then I'm going to create 5 small groups for in-class presentations. I might have to just keep it at 4 groups, but we'll see. Then we'll practice working in groups, and that should be a lot of fun. So I'm going to put a smiley face there. And we're going to listen to the first 10 minutes of the podcast. We started the first 3 minutes last week, but we're going to listen to the first 10 minutes just for listening comprehension. And that's the really fun story set in South Florida with that couple. Then we'll take our 10-minute break, and then we'll finish listening to the last 10 minutes. It's only 20 minutes long, and then we'll present at the very end. And if you have to leave early, I'll just leave you out of the last part. So at the end, it will be like a big show. So I'll say present at the end of class. We'll call this show time. All right. Showtime. There we go. Okay, so that is it. Any questions? Lovely. All right. Okay, moving right along. So, review of what we did last week. The title of the podcast is How a Miami Couple Used Empty Mansions to Pocket Millions. And everybody understands that pocket millions means stealing. To pocket millions. That's a colloquial phrase. So they were able to use big empty buildings to get away with a lot of stolen money. How did they do it? So here's the vocabulary that we'll go over now for the next 10-15 minutes. Okay, I will underline a word, and I'll ask everybody to follow me with pronunciation. So get your notebooks ready. I see a lot of people getting their pens and papers out. Jefferson, you're setting an example for your classmates. You're in your car with your notebook ready. That's it. Everybody be like Jefferson. He's ready to take notes. You too, Mabel. I see your notebook out. Good job. You too, Erica. I like it. Here we go. Follow me with the pronunciation. Indicted.
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 Pleaded.
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 Pleaded. Mortgage.
Mortgage.
Mortgage. Remember, the T is silent. Mortgage.
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 Very good. Victim.
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 Excellent. Sanctions.
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 Lovely. Now follow my mouth with the R sound. Recruit.
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 Inspection.
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 Accomplice.
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 Random.
Random.
random,
random,
landscaping,
landscaping,
scam,
Can.
scam,
squadded,
Right.
squatted,
vividly,
vividly,
elite.
elite.
Beautiful, beautiful. I could even tell that Cleomane, your baby, was practicing the pronunciation too. Fantastic. We got the whole family. We got the whole family going here. I love it. So let's try to take some words that we know, some of the easy ones, and try to use them in a few sentences. I think everybody knows the word mortgage. Who could use the word mortgage in a sentence? Jefferson, you want to work in real estate. Try to make a sentence with mortgage.
Yep. I'm looking for a new mortgage for my house.
Beautiful. And everybody remember, the mortgage is a loan specifically for the house. In some languages, loan is just a loan, whether it's a loan for a car, a loan for a house, loan for whatever. In America, we have that special, I'm sorry, in English, we have the special word mortgage, just for the house, loan for a house. Or apartment or whatever, condo or something. Okay. Who can make a sentence with one of the new words that we learned last week? Indicted. Indicted. Who remembers that word? That's a tough one. Remember the two defendants, Hennessy's and, oh, I forgot her name. What's her name? What's the other guy, the guy's name? Hennessy's and, hold on. I'm going to find the other guy's name. Here it is, Hennessy's and, what's the guy's name? Carlos, that's his name. So Carlos and Hennessy's were indicted. What does indicted mean?
Can I say a sentence?
Yes, please.
He was indicted of murder, so he has to present to a court.
Yes, yeah. Indicted, it means you're formally processed in court. Right, so it means it's a, I'll give you an example. So arrested is when police would take somebody, but that doesn't mean they've committed the crime. It doesn't mean anything. That just means the police have taken them to go to the police station. That's it. It means they will see a judge at some point. That's what it means to be arrested. You could be arrested because you didn't pay a bunch of parking tickets. So arrested is just you're going to court at some point. Indicted is that whole process of going to court in a formal trial. So indicted means you've been formally charged as a defendant in court. You're charged with some crime and it's being processed through the court system. Indicted. Let's see. Good job, Mabel. This is a more colloquial word, scam. If you have an iPhone and you get a number you don't recognize, the iPhone says scam likely. You ever seen that?
Yeah.
Yes.
So what's a scam?
A random number, a phone number call trying to call you.
Yes, but that's a certain type of scam. I'll give you another one. You get a text message, hello, I miss you. Number you don't recognize.
Who you are?
Exactly. You get an email that says, I'm a Nigerian prince. I want to send you some money. Please give me your bank account.
That's not a scam.
That's a scam. So a scam could be many, many things. It's basically cheating somebody for money. Or I'll give you synonyms to cheat.
Okay.
To cheat or to hustle somebody. Hustle can have different meanings, but it can be synonymous with scam.
Can,
To
can I
hustle
say
or
a
to
hitch,
cheat.
Awesome.
a shortster?
A shyster, yeah, a shyster is like a person who cheats.
No, no, I say a short history.
What's the word?
Short history. I'm gonna say something about someone called me like 2 years ago, like asked me for my social security,
That's a scam.
and I say, I'm sorry, I don't have a social security. And the guy goes, oh, just pull over.
Okay, yeah, that was definitely a scam. Yeah. If I call Jefferson and ask him for his social security number, what can I do to cheat him?
I need that. I don't know.
ID theft. Yeah, all I need is his social security number and his date of birth. If I can get those two things, if I look him up, he's probably on Instagram, and probably I could figure out his birthday real easy. So if I get that social security number and I just start looking through what his WhatsApp profile, I find out when his birthday is, find out how old he is, I'll just open a credit card under his name, and then I'll go to a Best Buy far away from where I live, and I get a nice big TV with a credit card under his name. And like a year later, he'll get the bill and say, "What?"
And he told me, hey, you have selling a credit card in Texas. I've never been in Texas.
There you
And
go.
he tried
There you
to say something really random.
Yeah.
I say, sorry,
Yeah.
but I do not have social security.
That's a scam.
And
Yep.
another day, someone called me, hey, do you need insurance for your car? And I said, I'm sorry, I do not have a car. Oh, you poor. She pulled over.
Yeah. Let's try this one. Inspection. Who can make a sentence with inspection?
My car needs inspection next month.
That works. Let's give some other students a chance. Ilse, how you doing?
Good morning, teacher. I
Good
am
morning.
feeling under the water because
Okay, I'll leave you alone. So let's say inspection, you get an inspection of your car, your house, inspection of anything. Inspection means to make sure things work properly. Mariana, how are you?
I can make one.
Okay, are you sure?
Yes.
Let's give you another word. Let's give you the word. Who remembers the word sanctions? Sanctions.
Embargo.
Yeah. Can you make a sentence with sanctions?
Can I?
Yeah. So why were all these mansions
okay.
empty?
The USA every year would announce sanctions against Cuba.
Sure. Well, didn't we lifted sanctions under Obama, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, we opened, it was Nelson Mandela's funeral where Obama started talking with Raul Castro in 2012. And then all of a sudden we could fly in and out and bring those dollars back in to drive the cabs around. If you're a cab driver in Havana, you make more money than a doctor, right?
Yeah.
Because they're the people getting the dollars. But then Trump wanted to put them back in. Anyway, we'll see. How have there been new sanctions against Cuba in the last 2 years? Stay the same.
For example, you can so far is that you can trip alone in Cuba to Cuba. You have to go like in a group to Cuba.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. So I imagine you're not looking to go back and give us a tour, right? Okay. All right. So let's use the word, good job, Ilse. Let's use the word, I'm thinking a lot of you are familiar with this word landscaping. Landscaping, a compound word. Who can make a sentence with landscaping? Marie, how you feeling this morning?
I'm good, teacher. And you?
Good, good. Are you familiar with the word landscaping?
Oh, no, I don't know what that's.
Okay. This word landscaping becomes a really important part of the story. How these guys actually almost get caught. Because remember, they're showing up in empty mansions.
Mm-hmm.
Because a bunch of who remembers why the mansions in Florida are empty? I'm circling.
Because Donald Trump in 2019, he announced sanctions against the rich Venezuelan. So
Yes.
they can arrive to the USA. Because
Beautiful. So there's all these wealthy, Venezuelans who made money in oil, bought houses in Florida, but they can't actually touch the houses because of the sanction. They can't. So these two people just walked into the mansions and just kind of did whatever they wanted. And they almost got caught when they started doing some landscaping. And then somebody recognized, said, hey, I don't know you. I don't know you. And I don't know you. Who are you? So who could tell Marie what is landscaping? Think about it. Land means the earth.
Is the person who is doing the garden take care of the garden, the flowers?
Yes.
Water the flowers.
Beautiful. Yeah. I did landscaping once for a little extra money. It's very, very hard work. You got to do a lot of lifting. It's dirty. You got to move dirt from one place to the other, move stones. Landscape.
But teacher, I'm a doubt. Landscaping is the guy who make that change, or is the action?
Well, landscaping could be cutting grass. It could be gardening. It could be moving, planting, anything with it could be trimming trees, anything like that. Anything moving around the land.
Can I say, for example, every year I like to change my house landscaping?
You would say I'd like to do landscaping.
Okay, do.
Like maybe you have a garden, you want to plant some flowers, you want to cut some grass, then you'd say, yeah, I do my own landscaping.
I do landscaping.
Yeah, I go to Home Depot to do landscaping. I get some flowers and I plant them. I get that kind of thing.
That's something I
love.
What's that, Marie?
I love this thing. I love it. I didn't even know the name, but I love that thing.
No, maybe maybe Marie, you don't want to be a nurse. You want to be a landscaper. No, that's a bad idea. Don't do it. Don't listen to me. Bad idea. Bad idea.
I love the both.
Be a nurse, then buy a house and do your own landscaping as a hobby. That way you can just get away from your kids. Your kids are bothering you. You turn on the lawnmower. It's really loud. I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Let's see. Okay, here's a new word nobody learned last week. I'm going to circle it and see who can guess. Squatted. Camila, you have a cat, right? I just saw a cat run past your head.
Two cats, teacher.
I was like, I didn't realize that there was like a little something the cat could stand on. I just saw a cat. I thought the cat was flying.
Yes, one big and one small, but today are crazy. I don't know why.
Okay. Squatted. All right. So squatted. Who can guess what squatted means?
Maybe
Like a team?
a group of people, a team.
Well,
For example,
Hennessy's, I'll use it in a sentence. Okay, Hennessy's and Carlos squatted in the mansion. Now figure out what it means.
When I was a kid, I was a part of the team of the high school. I don't know.
I can let me say something because
Yeah.
Asian word. I think it's from its base about this word because you know Asian word from um e- English, French, Latin, every every language is. So they call it in Creole a squad. You know what I mean, Cleoman?
No, don't know what you mean. Tell us.
Cleoman is Asian. Maybe he knows what I'm talking about.
Who can guess what it means? Because
Yes, but
well,
squad, when I say a squad, it's a group of, it's a team. They are doing things together. They are make funny thing. They are accompanied when like if you want to like plant something, they go together and plant something. If you want
okay.
to play music, you play music. You make something funny together and make the group happy. And I don't know if the same.
It's different. It's totally different, and it means the same thing in English. A squad does mean like a group of people, and that's a Jefferson. You mentioned like a football squad.
Yes.
Yeah, so you were saying the same thing as Marie, but that's a totally different meaning.
Okay.
This is
Squad
actually
team.
this is a noun
Squad.
and this is a verb. So who could tell
Okay,
me if
squad.
Hennessy's and Carlos squatted in the mansion? What exactly were they doing in the mansion? Did they all, was it their house they were living in?
They were trying to buy.
No, they weren't buying anything. They were just they were taking the money they could get from leverage from loans and pretending to be
They-
somebody else.
Yeah, they pretend to be the owners.
Right. They were
Oh,
pretending to
okay,
be
okay.
owners. How many of you have homes in another country? Okay. Imagine
Sorry.
you go back. How many of you, I said, how many of you have homes in another country? Another place to live in the place you came from before you came to America.
Yeah.
So imagine you go back on vacation and you say, oh, it's been a while. I haven't been here for a long time. And you open the door and you find two people living there, sitting on your couch and watching your TV. And you say, who are you? This is my house. That's squatting. It's living on someone else's property.
Oh.
Okay.
Very common when a place is empty, people will start squatting. And that's a verb, squatting. And it doesn't just mean real estate in terms of like built structures, like architecture. You could be charged with squatting in a rural area. Like maybe you own a lot of land. You have acres of land, acres of trees, and somebody just decides to camp out on your property, and you find them living there, and he goes, hey guys, this is my property. What are you doing? That's called squatting.
Oh, I thought was a squatter was like I'm part of a squad of the police or the fire.
No, squatting is when you're illegally staying in someone's
I got you.
space. So that's where this word comes in. Okay, let's finish this up so we can go to the next activity. Accomplice. Who remembers the word accomplice? Remember Hennessy's and Carlos, did they do it alone or did they hire other people to work with them?
Yeah, Hennessy and Carlos, they are accomplices.
Well, they were accomplices, but they hired other people. And those were the accomplices. So remember, they had to get these were famous people that owned these mansions. So they had to find other people in Florida that kind of looked like them.
Yeah, you were similar to the real owners.
Right. So they would have to just like go on Craigslist and find somebody. And then they go, okay, hey, Camilla, you look kind of like this really rich, powerful person who's in prison right now. Maybe cut your hair, maybe do a little this, do a little that, and wear this dress, and perfect. Now go into the bank and ask for $3 million, and then it worked. So they were accomplices, and they hired lots of people to work with them. Pleaded. Remember, this is after indicted. What is pleaded? Hennessy's pleaded guilty, I think.
Guilty.
Once
what
you are
does
in
that mean?
court,
To enter a plea in court. What does that mean?
once you are in court and the judge hear you and check all the proof, and finally he pleaded guilty.
Yeah, pleaded. It means you're entering your response.
That's the final
to the charge.
decision.
Yeah, it's your
Yeah.
response to the charge in court. Elite. Who can give me the definition of, or make a sentence with elite? What is elite?
Is people who live with a lot of privilege or
Yeah.
a lot of money or high class.
Yeah, these are synonyms. You might, the elite are the
Rich people?
powerful. Yeah, powerful. Think of an elite as powerful. The people who are running the show, they're the elite, the powerful. You could say high class.
Mhm.
Or if you really want to get fancy, you could say like the aristocrats, the gentry, but we don't need to use words like that. High class.
Elite finance, the elite control.
Yes, the people in control, the people running everything.
The 5% of the people.
Yeah, or the 1%. Yeah. Vividly. Who could use vividly in a sentence? What is vividly? So, whoops,
Well,
lost the page
well,
there.
When
There
you
it
try to be smart to other people, to other person.
Not exactly. If something is vivid, what does it mean? It's an adjective. I saw a painting with vivid colors.
I remember that travel vividly.
Yes, perfect.
Mhm.
Perfect, Erica. Good job. Yeah, vividly is like bright and clear. Like a memory can be vivid, like you remember something like it happened yesterday. Vividly. Excellent job. All right. So let's get started with these questions. I'm going to break everybody up into groups, and Jefferson, you've got to go, so we won't put you in a group, but I'll put everybody else into groups of 2 to 3. Here we go. All right. So here are questions that we're going to identify, and I'm going to put you into small groups. I'm going to write down the names of who's working with each other. And together at the end of class, after the break, you'll give a really short presentation to answer the question. All right. So question number 1, why were so many of the mansions empty? And we've kind of answered this already, but you want to give a full complicated answer. Let's get at least 2 people for this question. Who wants number 1?
Me.
That's Mabel. That was Mabel,
I
right?
can do.
Yeah.
Okay, but you're gonna
Me?
leave, right?
Mhm.
For me, 11,
Yeah, you said you were
11:30.
gonna leave, right?
Yeah, by 11:30.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, I'll just put Jefferson as a question mark because you might have to go when we present it. I'll just
Okay.
put Jefferson. question mark. And let's get one more person to, because Jefferson might need to go. How about, let me just look at the video panel, who all is here. Whoops. Okay. Mariana, how you doing? I haven't heard from you today yet.
Hi, teacher.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm great. You sound good. You guys sound like you got more sleep than last time.
Sorry, what did
You
you say?
sound like you got a little bit more sleep than last time. So how about I put Mabel, Mariana, and maybe Jefferson, because he'll have to leave a little early. I'm just going to put you in parentheses here. You can do some of the planning, but not the presenting.
Yeah, teacher, you wrote Mabel twice. Mariana.
What's wrong with me?
Sorry.
There's only one Mabel, Mariana. One Mabel. There's two Marianas. One is my boss, but Mariana. Mabel, Mariana, Jefferson. Okay. Question number 2. And here's that word recruit. And this is the word accomplice and recruit together. Who did Carlos and Hennessy's recruit for the operation? Who wants to take this one? Was that Marie? Marie Boisserand? And who else? Who wants to join Marie? Erica, Cleo Main, anybody? Let's say Marie and Ilse. So Marie and Ilse. Here we go. And third question, how did Carlos and Hennessy's, I'm gonna actually just keep it at 4 questions.
Me, teacher.
You got it, that's Erica. I'm gonna erase question number 5 because I didn't actually write it, okay. How did Carlos and Hennessy's complete the property inspections? Whoop. Let's make that Erica. Now, Jefferson, you'll really like this because you work in real estate. You'll be doing a lot of, you want to work in real estate. You got to go through a lot of property inspections. Think about it. You're pretending you're somebody else. And there's a big building right on the beach. Lots and lots of people with millions of dollars own apartments there. And you have to somehow convince the doorman down the front that you are somebody you're not to let the inspector in. They actually did it, and it worked.
Yeah, you have to make sure, like all the papers on good.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not easy.
Not easy, but they
Like
found a
if
way
you
to
do
do it.
the right things,
They
exactly. If
found a
you
way
do
to
the
do
right
it.
things, yep.
Camila, would you like to work with Erica here?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, Camila. Here we go. And we have, let's see, Mabel, Cleo Main, Jefferson, Marie Boisseron, Mariana. Oh my goodness, I think we got such a small group today. We got we got to get Cleo Main in somewhere. So Cleo Main, you want to join Marie and Ilse?
Yes.
Okay, beautiful. We'll just go with these 3 questions. So question number 1, Mabel and Mariana, and maybe Jefferson if he doesn't have to go too soon. Question number 2, Marie, Ilse, Ilse, and Cleomaine. Question number 3, Erica and Camilla. And I think we got everybody. Am I missing anyone? I don't think so. Okay. Nice. All right, everybody, take a moment. You can screenshot your question. You can write your question down. We're going to listen to the rest of this, to the first half of the story. Everybody, let me know when you're ready, or you just give me the thumbs up emoji when you're ready. Thank you, Mabel. Thank you, Jefferson. All right, let's do this thing. Here we go. I'm gonna go into Google Classroom and I'm gonna do what I did last time. I'm gonna play it and follow the transcript so you can read and listen at the same time. Here we go. Going into Google Classroom. There it is. All right. Make it nice and big so everybody can see. Okay, is this big enough for everybody to read? I'll make it a little bigger. I think some of you are following on smaller screens. That should be big enough. Okay. All right, here we go. I'll play the first half and we'll take a break at 11. So I'm going to play exactly half and then we take our break. Everybody can hear that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
In June 2019, a woman with a Venezuelan passport walked into a lawyer's office in Boca Raton, Florida. Here's our colleague Conrad Poutier.
So this woman, according to the passports, is married to this former Venezuelan state oil executive who's been accused of all sorts of corruption and taking bribes and was indicted in the US and actually pleaded guilty.
But the woman's passport was fake. She was posing as the former oil executive's wife.
This Venezuelan former executive owns a luxury apartment in one of the most exclusive apartment buildings in the Miami area. And she's here at this lawyer's office to take out a $3.5 million mortgage.
Like, I own the property, give me a loan here.
Yeah. She just walks in, says, here's my passports. I own this apartment. My name's on the deed. Then they sit down, go over the document, sign everything.
And less than an hour later,
this woman walks out $3.5 million richer.
She got the loan. And it was just the beginning of a year-long crime spree, totaling nearly $10 million.
Their victims, they own these incredibly valuable homes and cars in Miami, but they can't physically be in Miami for various reasons. So these people can't actually go to their houses, and they have no idea, in many cases, what's going on at these properties. And these people basically decided, wow, those are the perfect targets for us.
Welcome to The Journal, our show about money, business, and power. I'm Ryan Knudsen. It's Wednesday, October 19th. Coming up on the show, how a Miami couple stole millions of dollars using Florida's empty mansions and penthouses, and how they eventually got caught. To piece together this story, Conrad and our colleague Will Parker spent months reporting. They combed through hundreds of court documents, police reports, and emails, and interviewed dozens of people familiar with the case.
So the main characters in this story are a young couple, Genesis Martusiello, who's currently 29 years old, and her then boyfriend, Carlos Castañeda, who's now 35. They're both from Venezuela.
Castañeda came to the U.S. in 2014. Genesis Martusiello arrived a couple years later.
And they both fled a country that was in a severe economic crisis, which many in the country and abroad blamed in part on the country's authoritarian government and the policies it pursued. And so this crisis led to this mass exodus. Genesis and Carlos were part of that wave. They both ended up in Florida, in a country that was far wealthier than anything they'd ever known, hoping for a better life.
Tell me about this couple. Who are they and how did they meet?
We don't know a lot about Carlos. He wouldn't respond to us. He wouldn't talk to us. Genesis, she's also from modest means. She grew up in a middle-class family in the city of Barquisimeto in northwest Venezuela. She moves to South Florida in 2016. She does all sorts of odd jobs in Florida to make ends meet. She works as a model at car shows. She works as an Uber and Lyft driver for a while. She works in bars as a bartender. And so at one of those shifts at a bar, she meets Castañeda. And they fall in love and pretty quickly move in together. And after they move in together, Carlos approaches her with this idea.
The idea was to steal from rich Venezuelans who owned property in Florida. And pivotal to this scheme was a decision the Trump administration made in 2019.
Today we are announcing additional sanctions against the repressive regime, targeting Maduro's inner circle and close advisors.
The Trump administration cracked down on the Venezuelan government and put a bunch of people with ties to the Venezuelan government under sanctions. And what that basically meant is that there are all these rich people, some of them government officials themselves, who own luxury real estate in Florida, who are now under sanctions and can't come to South Florida anymore. They can't keep an eye on their houses. They're just empty. And their garages are full of Ferraris and Bentleys and Rolls Royces. And they basically decided, wow, those are the perfect targets for us because we hate the Venezuelan government that we blame for the poverty in our home country. These people are rich. We're not rich. Why don't we just have a go at it?
Castañeda's idea was to impersonate the owners of these properties and take out mortgages against them. Normally, this sort of thing would be very difficult. Most banks do thorough background checks and ask for tons of documents. But in Florida, there's a loophole.
In South Florida, there is this world of hard money lenders that basically cater to often foreign owners of high-end apartments and mansions.
Hard money lenders charge high interest rates to people who want to take out loans against the value of their real estate. Unlike banks, though, these hard money lenders aren't required to ask for many documents. And because these loans can be quite lucrative, they often don't. In some cases, all a person needs is a passport matching the name on a deed. But to pull it off, Castañeda and Martusiello needed help.
So there's a number of young women, most of them Venezuelan immigrants, that they recruit to help them with it. For each property where they take out a fake mortgage, they recruit a young woman that basically looks similar to the actual owner of the unit, right? To actually do the impersonating at the loan closing, right? To walk into the lawyer's office, hand over the passport and say, this is my apartment, I'd like a mortgage.
But before they could get the mortgage, there was one more step.
You also have to make sure that an inspection of the home can happen, right? Because even hard money lenders who don't ask as many questions as banks, they'll still want to visit the property. They want to make sure that this is not falling apart, that there's no mold, etc., right?
But getting access to a unit you don't own can be a little tricky.
So if you just show up and say, let me in, they're not going to let you in. So here's how they did it. They sent an email to the front desk and basically said, hey, I'm the owner of this apartment. I changed my phone number and my email address to the following. Could you please update your system and make sure that you have my up-to-date email address and phone number? That's really important because weeks later, they would send the lender's representatives to the unit, right? They would show up at the front desk. And then what does the front desk do? They look up the owner's number in the system and call them and say, hey, there's an appraiser here who wants to see the unit. Can we let them in? Since you've changed the phone number, they're not calling the actual owner, they're calling you.
Huh.
And so that's exactly what happened.
Why would anyone lend them money, though? I mean, yes, they have access to the condo, but the guy who bought the condo is under sanctions and isn't even supposed to be in the US, so shouldn't that have been a red flag?
You're right. It should have been a red flag for any lender, and any lender who would have done a lot of due diligence and research and try to figure out who these people are. But the way South Florida real estate works is often people ask very few questions. Someone shows up with the passport that matches the name on the deed. The apartment's very valuable. You can make a lot of money issuing a mortgage, and then you do it.
The group also set their sights on a $5 million mansion in South Miami with 6 bedrooms, a lap pool with a separate guest house, and a private movie theater. The home was owned by Mark Lopez Bello, a Venezuelan billionaire who's also on a U.S. Most Wanted list with a $5 million bounty for his arrest. He's been accused of money laundering and sanctions evasion. He's denied the allegations.
Mark Lopez Bello, he became their next target, and they decided to take out a mortgage on his mansion.
But accessing a mansion isn't the same as accessing a condo. There's no front desk that can be hoodwinked. Instead, there's a high-tech alarm system. But even those systems have their vulnerabilities.
Now, the amazing thing about this scheme is because the guy who owned this mansion was under U.S. sanctions, he couldn't pay his electricity bill, right? Because if you're under sanctions, no one can do any sort of financial transactions with you in the U.S. So he couldn't pay his electricity bill. Because he couldn't pay his electricity bill, the security system was down. So these people could just walk in and, walk around the mansion.
They basically were just able to break in themselves.
Exactly. And, they find a Ferrari in the garage of the home, which they sold, as thieves tend to do.
Oh my God. To get the mansion ready for its appraisal, they decided to clean it up a bit. But when one of their accomplices went around with a leaf blower, it nearly got them caught.
One day, the housekeeper for the actual real owner shows up and sees this guy with a leaf blower and immediately calls the cops.
She's like, who is this guy? I know who's supposed to be in and out, and it's not him.
Exactly. Some random guy with a leaf blower. Who is this guy? No idea. So they call the cops. Cops show up and just ask him, hey, what are you doing here? And he gets lucky. The cops talk to him. He tells them, I'm just a landscaper. And the cops are like, who would do landscaping work at a house that they don't own, right? It doesn't scream scam to you. So the cops let him go. And just days later, they take out a $2 million mortgage.
They were getting comfortable. At one point, Castaneda and a friend squatted in one of Lopez Bello's condos at the Four Seasons. Castaneda would be seen walking around in Gucci sweatpants. And when Conrad and a colleague were reporting this story and went to go check out one of the luxury buildings where Castaneda lived, staff there remembered him vividly.
We walked by one day and showed him his photo and just asked him, hey, do you remember this guy? Was he did you ever see him around here? And they said, yeah. He would always have these duffel bags full of cash that he would carry out of and to his Range Rover. And they were just yeah, you could visibly tell that those duffel bags were filled with cash because of the shape of the stuff that's in the bag. And at that point, him and Martusiello, his girlfriend, just lived a life that was almost like the life of the elite that they were defrauding. They stole a bunch of cars from their victims. Most of them they sold, but one of their victims' Rolls Royces just became their Rolls Royce, and they drove around in it. They flew to Las Vegas, 4 of them, Martusiello and Castaneda and another couple that they were involved with, and went to a bunch of casinos and gambled. And one of the people involved in the scheme, Catherine Hansen, got a $8,000 Pomeranian dog. In hindsight, it all looks obvious that it wasn't going to work out and that they were going to get caught. But maybe at the time, it seemed like the perfect plan.
The perfect plan until it all fell apart. That's next.
Okay, I'll stop right here. It's time to take a break. The perfect plan until it all fell apart. So how did they get caught? Find out after the break. Okay, here we go.
Wow, they have the perfect plans.
Yeah, they were getting away with everything, but then they got caught. Let's see, how did they slip up? After the break. See you in 10 minutes, everybody.
Enforcement officials caught wind of the scheme. A tip came in, and in March 2020, one of them got arrested.
So Catherine Hansen is, at that point, one of the key members in the scheme. She is the person who is impersonating the daughter of the owner of this mansion, Sir Mark Lopez Bello.
She's also the dog lover with the $8,000 Pomeranian.
So one day, March 2020, she shows up at this bank and wants to transfer a lot of money from this bank account that has the mortgage to some other bank account. And at that point, the people at the bank become suspicious. So what happens is Catherine Hansen walks up to the counter, wants to transfer the money, hands over her fake Venezuelan passports in the name of the mansion owner. And the person behind the counter gives this fake passports to an off-duty cop who's stationed there.
The tellers were already watching out for her. After the off-duty cop took Hansen's passport, he walked out to the car she arrived in and peered inside.
And there is a driver's license in the cup holder, which he can see very clearly. This driver's license, same photo, but it has her real name. And so the cop just turns around, walks back into the bank, and puts her in handcuffs. Castaneda and Martusiello, who are waiting nearby in their car, once they realize what's going on, they speed off, everyone freaks out, and that's the first arrest.
Investigators are now hot on their trail. And yet, Castaneda and Martusiello weren't spooked enough to call it quits. 2 months after Hansen's arrest, they were at it again.
For whatever reason, they decide to keep going. And they decide to find a new target to take out a mortgage on the house on. They call a lender that they'd worked with before on some of these other fraudulent mortgages. What they don't know is that this lender has already talked to law enforcement. And then the sting happens. So Castaneda and Martusiello recruit yet another young woman to impersonate the owner of this latest luxury apartment. And one day in May of 2020, they show up at what they think is just a normal loan closing, like any loan closing they've been at before, except what they don't know is that this time the supposed notary is actually an undercover agent from the US Secret Service. The moment this young woman that they've recruited signs the mortgage, hands over her passport, she's put in handcuffs. Genesis Martusiello and Carlos Castaneda, who are waiting in a car nearby, are also arrested. And that's really the moment where the scheme is over.
By the end of the crime spree, they'd made off with nearly $10 million from fraudulent loans against 3 properties. They were caught when they targeted a 4th. Castaneda, Martusiello, and 6 co-conspirators all pleaded guilty. They're now behind bars. They face sentences from 28 months to 6.5 years for identity theft and bank and wire fraud. The investigation is ongoing, and more arrests could come. After this case was blown open, and Castaneda and Martusiello and the others were arrested, was there a reaction from the victims or from the Venezuelans?
So Mark Lopez Bello, who is their second victim, he actually, through a spokesperson, told us that he's incredibly disappointed in the U.S. property system. that he invested in South Florida thinking, well, this is one of the safest places in the world to invest in. Here, my wealth is going to be protected by the legal system of the United States and America. No one's going to steal this from me. And yet, what happened is these people broke into his house. They impersonated his daughter. They stole his cars. They took out giant mortgages on his houses. They moved into his apartment and squatted there. All this stuff happened. And he just, and I'm paraphrasing here, just basically said, what the hell, man?
As wild as this story is, Conrad says this kind of mortgage fraud actually happens a lot in Florida.
This is the kind of story that really could only happen in the South Florida luxury real estate market. It's just this wild, opaque world where all these wealthy foreigners buy apartments and oversight is incredibly light. There's barely any rules and no one really pays any attention to anything that's going on. And it's really that made this scheme possible.
That's all for today, Wednesday, October 19th. The Journal is a co-production of Gimlet and the Wall Street Journal. Additional reporting in this episode by Will Parker.
Well, there's the whole story, everybody. The end. They got caught. Let's take a look at the questions before I send you to breakout rooms. There it is. Okay, so we lost Mariana, but we still have Jefferson. Okay, so why were so many mansions empty? This is going to be Mabel and Jefferson. Who did Carlos and Hennessy's recruit for the operation? That is Marie, Ilse, and Cleo Main. And then question number 3, how did Carlos and Hennessy's complete the property inspection? That's Erica and Camilla. All right, I'm going to put you into breakout rooms right now. And you'll have a few minutes. And when you come back, work together to give full, complete answers. Sound good? Okay, room 1, that is Mabel, Mariana. Oh, Mariana's gone. Jefferson. Room 2, Ilse Marie Cleomain. Ilse Marie Cleomain. Room 3, Camilla and Erica. Okay, you can join your breakout rooms now.
Teacher, could you send me again, please, the link?
So Erica, you are.
Sorry, I put letter for.
Your question number 3.
Yes.
Question number 3. Okay. Join your breakout room and I'll.
Teacher, I put letter. When you send me the message to join, I put letter by mistake.
Oh, okay. Hold on a second. You're gonna join Camilla in 3. Okay, try to join now.
Teacher.
Teacher, I'm so sorry. Oh my God.
Why were so many of the mansions empty? So that's Jefferson and Mabel. Take it away. Who
Okay.
wants to begin?
Okay. Okay. So I wrote, in 2019, Donald Trump announced additional sanctions to the Venezuela government. Basically, the rich Venezuelan who has ties, those who have inner cycles and were close to the Venezuelan government, can arrive to the USA. So they had prohibited the entrance to the USA. That because those mansions were empty.
Very nice. Very nice. So this is what makes the story actually really complicated. And Jefferson, I imagine this is where you are from. You're part of that wave.
Yep.
Tell us, pick up where Mabel left off.
Well, I heard that history before you came to the classes, but I didn't know the details. So I'm in shock how they make it. Yes, wow. But I heard at the end of the video, the guy said that's not the only history. It's a bunch of people do it the same thing before them. So that's the famous case. But, well,
it's pretty incredible. Now,
Yeah.
here's a quick question. The mansions were empty because of the sanctions. So these were, now, what does everybody think about? I'm going to put a word here. Ethical. Ethical means like right and wrong. Now, so sanctions were put in place against people who had made money by hurting other people in Venezuela.
No ethical.
Right. But these criminals, in this case, it's Genesis and Carlos, because they were stealing from the bad guys, was it, well, if you're, stealing is wrong. It's not your house. But what does everybody think about what they were doing?
but they steal
Gray area.
money for the government.
Right. These are people who took money from
the government,
from the people, from people
Because
in Venezuela are suffering, and these
at
guys.
the end of the day,
At the end, yeah.
That houses, the government gonna take it because if the owner came to the USA, at the end of the day, the taxes or whatever, the government gonna take that property and sell it to someone. So that money they steal, they're from government.
So, Jefferson,
They had to make a different thing because they are still in the two bad guys who still to the Venezuelan people, and at the
Yep.
end of the day, that is the Venezuelan, the money of the Venezuelan people. And for me, at the beginning, they were pretty smart because to think in all details and all that thing to make that plan works. But at the end, they were confident. They were comfortable. It's impossible for they that they can see this is liar. This is not true. But I think they had to make the situation different. The things different.
If you are stealing from somebody who stole money, essentially these people made money by, by
Corruption,
starving.
narco-traffic.
People in Venezuela are starving to death and living really rough lives. And these people profited from that.
With good intentions.
If you're taking money from them, is it really stealing? This is what I think is an interesting question.
Yes, teacher.
Yes,
Tell us
it's
why,
a bad
Marie.
thing.
Tell us why.
Teacher, it's still stealing.
It
You are
is? Tell
talking
us.
about ethical. It's
Yes.
your own action. You don't have to base your action about their action. They have to be sanctioned regarding their own actions. So it's still stealing because regarding the law, you have to be sanctioned for your own bad thing. So still stealing. Everybody
Good point,
has
Marie.
their responsibilities in that.
Very good point, Marie. I like that. So yeah.
If I was the lawyers, I would say just put them in jail for 5-10 years and then deport them.
Okay.
That's what I think. Yep.
So Jefferson, do you want to go to law school instead of working real estate?
No, I don't like
I think you could probably do both. You might be a good.
I don't like that. You have to read a lot. That's too much.
Okay. Nice. All right. Good work. Okay, let's hear from group number 2. How did Carlos and Hennessy? Who did Carlos and Hennessy recruit for the operation? I think that was Marie, Cleomaine, and Ilse, right?
Yes.
All right. Tell us everything you talked about.
Okay. The article mentioned that there is a number of young women, most of them Venezuelan immigrants, that Carlos and Genesis recruit to help them with the plan. For each property where they take out a fake mortgage, they recruit a woman who pretend to be the owner. And this woman, she needs to have the same appearance and the physical characteristics and look similar to the actual owner to get the mortgage from the bank.
Yep, exactly. They found what's called, I like Ilse used this word, appearance, a similar appearance, and you could also use this phrase, a look alike. This is a phrase, a look alike. A look alike. Oh, hang on 1 second. I'll be right back.
Oh my God.
He's downstairs, he's drawing. He's in the water. Oh, he's in the bathroom. Sorry about that. I had to answer the door real quick. Okay, so a look-alike. they found people who looked pretty similar to the people they were stealing from. So yeah, but that's really complicated. And Ilse read the section of the transcript which detailed how most of it worked. Let's hear from Marie and Cleomaine. There was a lot going on there. I mean, just pretending to be somebody isn't easy. How did they do it so well?
They have to be zero nervous, right? I don't know. I can do that. I'm not able to do that.
Cleomaine, how would you feel about that? Somebody offered you money to pretend to be somebody else and walk into a bank. Oh, I think we lost Cleomaine. Oh, no, he walked. He did what I just did. I think he walked to the other room to change a diaper. That's not what I just did though. Here we go. Marie, tell us more. Like, it was really complicated how they would find young Venezuelan women. They looked a little bit similar, but they really had to be skilled to pull this off. Tell us more.
Well, yeah, when you get a plane, when you have you will do all your best to achieve what you want to do. So it's hard, but you will do what we will do your best to achieve, as I said. So but for me uh I don't know if could be at the end of that. So I will try. I can say I can accomplish. So I think they are genius to do that. That's my opinion. So they have a lot of skill. And
All right. Anything to add, Cleomaine?
yeah.
All right. Let's go to question number 3, and I think we could probably wrap it up for today. Okay. All right, here we go. How did Carlos and Genesis complete the property inspections? All right, this was pretty complicated. I think we gave this one to who was that? Oh yes, Erica and Camilla and the cats. Tell us how they did this. This was really complicated.
So we have in one moment, they send an email to the front desk for change the emails and telephone numbers, like owner. So after they call again to the front desk for confirm that the email and telephone numbers was changing. And another occasion, when a house, the owner don't pay the electrical bill, so the security system doesn't work. So Carlos and Genesis, they can walk inside the house and around the mansion.
Perfect. We could explain it in a little more detail, because so it's in a big apartment building. They send an email, says, "Hi, I changed my phone number. This is my new number." So if I change my email and I'm pretending to be this famous corrupt Venezuelan guy who's actually in jail right now, and I say, "Hi, my name is this criminal who's in jail. Please update my information. This is my new number." And I give my phone number. So they call me and I pick up as George and say, "Yeah, my name is blah, 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 guy. And and then I
That's
send the
pretty crazy.
housing inspector, say, yeah. So then to the building, housing inspector goes to the building. They say, hi, I'm the inspector going to see the apartment. And the doorman will say, hold on, let me call the owner. And they call, and I pick up as me, and I pretend to be somebody else. Oh yes, that's my apartment. Let them in. Go ahead. And that was for another property. That was the electric bill with a big mansion. That was just a single unit. Because of the sanctions, you can't pay your electric bill as yourself if the government has a sanction on you and you're in prison. So the security system was totally down, and these people just walked right in and lived there, took all their cars and their cash. So good details. All right. So yes, now this is true crime stories are always fun and exciting, but they never end well. So as exciting as this story is, remember they got caught at the end, and now they're Hennessy's is serving her sentence, and I believe so is Hennessy's is serving her sentence, and also, even though Carlos did not comment for the story, he's also his case is also under review. That's it. So I think we can wrap it up for today, and I'd say 5 minutes early. That's it. Fun class, everybody. Any questions? All right. Well, enjoy the rest of your day, everybody. Take care. Oh, I should make two announcements. Okay. I knew I was forgetting something. Okay, here are the two announcements. Okay. There won't be any classes on Thursday and Friday, and here's the reason why. Hang on one moment. No classes Thursday and Friday because hold on. There it is. Okay. So I knew I was forgetting something. So on this coming Thursday, we have all teachers will be at Plymouth Plantation. Some of you will be there, some of you will not. It's okay. You're not required to come, but if you already signed up, you know who you are. That is Thursday. So all teachers will not be teaching classes that day. Friday is a federal holiday, Veterans Day. You can call it double 11. So 11/11, that's a federal holiday. Public schools will be closed. Public buildings like libraries and things will be closed. If you're working, make sure you're getting overtime, OT. Everybody knows OT, right? If you are going to work on Friday, make sure you should be getting time and a half. Because if your boss thinks, oh, this immigrant doesn't know it's a holiday, I'll just pay them what I want. Tell your boss you should be making overtime if you're working on a holiday. Okay, very, very important. Say, hi, today is a holiday and I'm coming into work. I should be getting overtime. All right, very important. So, Veterans Day, holiday on Friday. No one at El Centro is teaching on Thursday because of the trip. That's it. I will see you next week. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.